like no food.
Here's an article from a publication called The South African. No food, job, or phones. Afrikaner refugee family stranded in U.S. American Dream. An Afrikaner refugee family has been left without assistance, including food, after arriving in the U.S. and is appealing for help on Facebook. The startling revelation was made by a South African expat on TikTok. He was reportedly stranded at a hotel in Montana without food, money, or a cell phone. Instead, they reached out to a Facebook group for help. The woman said of the refugees, they were understanding that they would be arriving here for complete or maybe with complete assistance. People thought they would be arriving at a house, a job, medical insurance, and other things. It isn't that way at all. She added, because of the political situation, they are really struggling to get jobs. Says no help from SA Embassy. Last month, the Department of International Relations stated that South African refugees in the United States would not have access to any diplomatic assistance whilst abroad. The persecuted South Africans would instead be assisted by the U.S. Refugee Admissions Program, which was signed as an executive order by Trump. As part of the Afrikaner Act, the group was also given priority to refugee status, which provides them with startup assistance like money, jobs, and even a house. That's really nice of them. They didn't do this for other people seeking asylum, but okay. But obviously it didn't happen because Trump's a liar. Can they return to South Africa? According to DIRCO spokesperson Crispin Fury, refugees simply can't return home for a braai and go back. I'm not sure what a braai is, but obviously they can't just go back because they were seeking refugee status for a reason.
Hi guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. It's iconic and frankly infuriating that some Afrikaners once upheld the system of apartheid and white supremacy in South Africa are now calling themselves refugees in the US, crying foul when they experience a fraction of hardship Black South Africa endured for generations. They came here chasing Trump's false promises of protection and privilege, thinking America would be a safe haven for white conservatives. Now, they are realizing that Trump's words were just political bait, and that in the real world, being white and foreign doesn't guarantee special treatment. To them, I say, welcome to the reality that millions of actual refugees face daily. But unlike them, these real refugees did not benefit from the centuries of institutional power. Let's listen to what other people have to say.
Did you see this video of this woman from South Africa talking about how on a Facebook group she saw that Afrikaner refugees here in the U.S. are struggling and are thinking about going back?
Family of refugees has been placed in this town, and they have had like no food. I know that there's this, and I don't know what to think because I didn't really follow it at all when it happened. But I think they were of the understanding that they were going to be arriving here to like complete assistance, and I think people here thought that they were going to be arriving to a house and a job and medical insurance and a whole bunch of other stuff, and it actually isn't that way at all. There have been like 4 adults in a hotel room with no money, no cell phone, no anything.
If you hadn't heard the story, Trump has been letting Afrikaner refugees, heavy on the quotes, into the U.S. They came here with the lie that the South African government is persecuting them because they're white. So at a time where Trump is not allowing any refugees to come into the country, he is allowing Afrikaners into the country. And like this article perfectly states, they're not refugees, they're opportunists. And these opportunists really thought that when they got to the U.S., they were going to get a house, a job, a car, a cell phone, health insurance completely paid for. They really thought that Daddy Donnie was going to take taxpayer money and give it to them. You know, believing all those lies that people of color come to the U.S. to seek refugee or asylum, and then they have it on easy street, which, surprise, surprise, it's not true. And it doesn't matter how much those South Africans hate it here, they can't just go back home. Like the Department of International Relations said, these Afrikaner refugees cannot just go back to South Africa or get assistance from South Africa because they're supposed to be under the protection of the United States and Donald Trump. And if these Afrikaner refugees want to be welcomed back as citizens, they have to revoke their status in order for this to happen. So if these Afrikaners are struggling in the U.S. and they want to go back home, basically they have to admit, we lied. I think it's kind of humorous to me that their lies have backfired on them and that Donald Trump has left them stranded. However, it's very frustrating that people who actually have to seek asylum and refuge in the US because they're trying to escape danger and persecution are not being allowed in, but these opportunists are being fast-tracked.
So I was sent a video that was circulating, and it's by a lady called Kat, and she is a South African that is based in the US, and she highlighted that she had seen these Facebook posts in South African groups that she belongs to, where it was about 4 adults sitting in a hotel room in a little town that are struggling, and they're part of the South African refugees. Now, for me, as I've mentioned before, I haven't got an issue with the people that have taken a chance. I have got an issue around the disinformation campaign that ran up to this, and also some of the disinformation spread by certain refugees when they got to that side, when they spoke to the American press. And in this video, Kat's highlighting the things that she says they're struggling with. She did mention food, but I know, I've been following the program, is that part of the refugee program is that you will be given at least breakfast in the hotel or the motel where they place you. For instance, the Langtons, which is the family of 9, the guy that owned the IT firm, he is in a motel, and he's in that motel with his entire family. He's also highlighted that they've got up to 3 months to, make sure that they get jobs and get on their feet and stuff like that. So their assistance, according to him, is only for 3 months. But I posted then on X that these groups that are preparing people to go there need to actually make sure that they do the right thing and they prepare them, because being in a total different country where you can't just pick up a phone is an issue. Not having a vehicle, getting acclimatized, etc. is an issue. But now, for me, my post wasn't about the people. Okay, my issue is that if you are still running these groups like the Amerikaners, then do your job and make sure that people understand that this is not a cakewalk. No refugee program is. NGOs are assisting you on that side, and they are dealing with a number of refugees. Often refugees that get there with only their shirts on their back, because they are coming from war-torn countries, for instance. So this then caused an entire outcry by a certain group of people that are very angry. First of all, I think they possibly angry with Kat for highlighting that people need help. She didn't, and I want to be very clear, put anyone's life in danger. She was just highlighting how she was feeling about that particular situation, and also she is actually a humanitarian, so she is going out of her way to assist these people that are in this little town. But it's like the group on this side don't want to take responsibility and accountability for ensuring that people are actually prepared for what they can experience on that side. So because of my post on X, which doesn't reference the people, it references their struggle, but it highlights that my focus is actually on the groups that are here that have, I must say, a number of them spread a lot of disinformation when it comes to South Africa, but they should be focusing on preparing people for what to expect on that end. So I know Kat made a video saying I didn't contact her, but I didn't contact her because my issue is not with the people. My issue is with the groups that are in South Africa. And yeah, so it's now a total outcry, and the Amerikaners are sure that I'm a shill for the government, according to very American talking points on this. But for me, they must just get their act together and do what they need to do, and not actually sell this American dream story and explain to people that they are going to go through a tough time.
They have had no food.
This woman, who goes by the name of Kat here on TikTok, has lived in Montana in the US for 10 years, immigrated ages ago, quite legitimately, not part of these ridiculous white refugees who were part of this political stunt. And she says that via various Facebook groups for South Africans that she's still part of, someone reached out to her to help a family of 4 refugees that was stranded in a hotel with no food, no cell phones, no money, and they're absolutely desperate. And now she's at this crossroads about whether to help them or not. She says in later videos that she does go on to help them, but this just shows, what do these people expect? They're going to a country that doesn't even care for its own citizens. Trump's big, beautiful bill is going to increase tax breaks for the rich by taking food stamps away from the poor and Medicare assistance. They shouldn't be surprised by this.
Hey folks, Chris here in central Pennsylvania once again. Even on a slow news day, people generate news. Now, I'm in the middle of nowhere here on a backcountry road, not too far from Yellow Breeches Creek, a world-renowned bass and fly fishing location. A road that you wouldn't expect much traffic, but mark my words, somebody will probably come down this road while I'm filming. We'll see. But even on slow news days, stories come that make you shake your head and have you refute the nonsense. And this one in the South African. The title of this one is No Food, Jobs, or Phones, Afrikaner refugee, in quotations, family stranded in the U.S. Well, okay, the question whether stranded is in quotes because we don't know if that's true. But the refugee thing, once again, South African media, this is the South African, and they're putting it in quotes. Why? These people are legal refugees. You may not like that, but that's U.S. law, and that's an eternal sovereign issue for us. South Africans are fond, especially politicians in the media, of saying that we're a sovereign nation. You are. You can do what you like within the norms of international relations. And so can we. We're a sovereign nation. This is our law, and these people have been granted refugee status because they're suffering from unjust racial discrimination, as per the conclusion of U.S. government officials. Case closed. Take the quotations off refugee. They are refugees. It's as simple as that. So they start the story off with a subtitle, American Dream, with a question mark. An Afrikaner refugee, once again quotes, family has been left without assistance, including food, after arriving in the United States. Now, I've researched this story and I've talked to people involved who know what's going on here, and the story's a lot more complicated than this story in the South African would lead you to believe. And there's a number of problems with the story, which I'm going to point out, okay? Also going to ask the question is, what passes for journalism in South Africa? This story appears to be simply cutting and pasting quotes and statements from other stories and from a video, not actually doing any analysis or actually reporting any news. So an Afrikaner refugee family reportedly been stranded in the U.S. and is appealing for help on Facebook. Well, that's a few days old now. They've gotten help, and not necessarily from Facebook, but from other Afrikaners who helped them out.
So now the Afrikaners are now calling themselves refugees because they no longer nominate South Africa, and they are shocked that Trump lied to them. Let's be real, they weren't flagging war, they were flagging equality. They believe Trump's false claims about the white genocide, expected special treatment in the US because of their whiteness and conservative views. Now they are facing the same system that failed the real refugees, and suddenly they want empathy. This is not persecution, it's entitlement meeting reality. Let's be clear, this entire situation is staked in hypocrisy. Anyway guys, let me know what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. For now, bye bye.